right, welcome back to All Hitches, America's #1 Nova football podcast. Coach Mesa, how's it going today, buddy?
No, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Getting in the fall spirit, getting ready to go the rounds. I did a lot of yard work yesterday. Did a ton of yard work because I have the battery powered mower. I don't have the gas one, so they tell you not to use it on the wet grass. So I was using on the grass yesterday, and my lawn's got to the point where because it's growing really fast, right? For fall, it's growing like it does during the spring because of the still being warm. And now we're starting to get rain again. Makes it makes it a really pain in the butt to clean the dog poop because it just grows like it covers it up and you got to try to get it in. And, it's awful.
You got to have to do it on your neighbor's lawn. That's the old trick. That's the trick. And actually, I'll give you the assist on my mow yesterday because I was gonna have my kid mow it today.
Yeah.
And but you told me it might rain and stuff, so I said, "Crap, I can't put it off another weekend." My kid was out, so I ended up mowing. I mowed. I haven't mowed in a while. You know,
really?
having all these kids over the years. I'm kind of the backup mower, right?
Yeah.
So my oldest son started mowing the lawn, like he's 5 now, many years ago. But then the next one took over, who's 18, and he's in school now.
Yeah.
And my daughter, I'll give her the credit. My 8th grade daughter has kind of picked it up. And
really?
She wanted the extra money, and I give her a few bucks for it, obviously. Allowance money, that kind of thing. But she's an 8th grade girl, and she's out with her friends sometimes, and so then the backup comes in. The old relief pitcher comes in, takes over.
You're the Vince Evans of lawnmowers.
I am. I'm the Earl Morrall.
Earl Morrall. Steve DeBerg.
Yes. I still have it. I still show them what it's like every once in a while. And I do a fantastic. When I do it, it's a fantastic job. Fantastic.
What height do you mow your lawn at?
I go with are you asking like the actual height or like as far there's 5 different levels? I'm in the middle.
So I think they're by inches. I think like 1 is 1, 2 is 2.
I've
3
never
is
looked
3.
at the number before. I just do the middle one.
I believe it is by inches. So that's probably the 3. You're going at a 3-inch cut.
I guess so. I learned a long time ago when I first had fresh grass, like new baby grass.
Yeah.
Don't cut it too short because it'll die.
Yeah.
And then I kind of kept it that thing in there, so I'm like the Goldilocks, right? Not too high, not too low, perfect, right in the middle.
Yeah, I like to have a little bit higher cut, like about a 4. I like the lush look of a lawn. You know what I mean? Like
true.
Yeah.
True.
But I'll probably cut it right before that because we're gonna have to seed it again. I'll probably cut it short right before, and then once they seed it, I just won't touch it again until hopefully till February, probably, right, when it starts growing again, February or March.
Well, I'll say this: good segue, my friend. Good segue, because speaking of cutting it short, some of these games on Friday night were not cut short. They were actually very long games.
Yeah.
Wow.
So one, I do think the reason is, so I watched too many games this year. Not that I don't enjoy football, but I do. There are a lot of pre-snap penalties that are getting called right now, which is a long game because then if the clock is stopped, but then it takes time for them to set up. If the clock is going, they stop the clock. They do it. So a lot of pregame penalties I've noticed, which is really causing games, I think, to a long. Especially, I've seen last game I was at. There was 2 running football teams, and I was like, man, this game is a long. It's not like you have 2 teams throwing the ball equally passes. Like it just seems like just the amount of penalties I think is really causing games to go a little longer.
And to your point, the throwing. I happen to be we were at different games, and we'll kind of go into that later on. But there was a lot of throwing at the game I was at. So, the first half was, kind of especially long, so you had that. But you're right. The games, you would think, right? Obviously, 2 ground and pound teams, that game would at least go, relatively shorter.
Under 2 hours, you would think, but it just seems like that's not the case.
Right.
So it's been interesting. Before I forget, one thing that is worth your time is this podcast right here. So we get roughly around the 400 range every one, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. But we don't have 400 subscribers. So we have people out there who are listening who are not subscribing. So Just hit the button. Just hit the button. It take a second out of your life.
Hit the
And
subscribe button. If you're listening right now, if you're listening, stop everything you're doing and hit that subscribe button. Yeah, you got to do it.
Although we did hear from a coach, and I think this is rather common, right? A lot of coaches right now out there are probably breaking down film, got us playing on in the background for some white noise. How about you take a break from ODK and a film and hit the subscribe button?
Yeah.
Just do that.
And I'll tell you what, those coaches that have hit the subscribe button and are breaking down film, listening to this, those are the winning coaches. Those are the coaches who were celebrating. Okay? Those are the winners.
They are. Subscribing to all his Hitches podcasts are for winners.
That's right. Those coaches were prepared. They knew about all the key things. They knew about, all the insider info that we've broken down watching all these games. We've watched, I would argue, we've probably watched, more teams than any other coach because we've seen all the teams.
I think we've watched more teams than any person in Northern Virginia.
Yes.
I think we've seen more teams than anybody else has seen in Northern Virginia.
We allow us to be your Ron Jaworski and Merrill Hodge, right? Let us. It's a good show. I used to watch that show. It was NFL. What was it called? It's a good show, man. I used to watch it every Saturday night or Sunday morning. When I was growing up as a kid. Love Jaworski, love Merrill Hodge.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was if you know the name of the show. If we can't think of it beforehand. I remember that show.
They would break down all the games, but they'd break it down with coaches' analysis, right? It was pretty insider stuff. And then later on, who was the guy? The Monday Night Football, the icon. He used to do Muhammad Ali fights. The announcer, Cosell, his son. His son was
Greg Cosell.
Greg Cosell ended up being on there. He's really good too. He's a phenomenal guy to break down games.
Yeah. There's another guy breaking down games on YouTube. I don't know if you've watched it at all. I figure you might.
No.
Gruden.
Oh man, I love Gruden breaking down games. Have you heard some of his breakdowns?
Yeah.
I heard him talking about Joe Mixon. There's great running backs and there's good running backs. There's great hamburgers and there's good hamburgers. There's great hotels and there's good hotels. Get yourself a Joe Mixon. Get yourself a great hamburger. I mean, that's my kind of analysis right there.
Yeah. So not we're in the business of doing ads for. We're not in any business actually. We currently have a charity called the All Hitches Podcast and NovaHighSchoolSports.com.
That's right. Well, buddy, I mean, some crazy endings this week. Outstanding games. I can't wait to get into it and break it all down. But we got to talk shop first. We got to name some of these phenomenal players of the week, my man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to start right at the top, National District. You're going to break this down for us and let us know what our guy, Elijah Lewis, the quarterback and linebacker for Falls Church, got him off the schneid this week, and they got their win.
He did.
Talk about it.
So, much like you were a Coach Slay guy coming in, I was very much high in Coach Coogan. They got their first win of the week, and Elijah Lewis, 154 yards passing and a touchdown, had 60 yards rushing, had 2 passing touchdowns. On defense, the guy starts a quarterback and an outside linebacker. Stud. I mean, that's a lot of double duty. 10 tackles, 1 for a loss, and a pass breakup. Huge, right? Huge game. Big high scoring game, and he is also, I guess. Well, we'll get a little tease right there. He is also part of our play of the week.
Yeah.
Actually, I guess you want to do it right now, or do you want to wait for that till we get through the players of the week?
Yeah, let it marinate a little bit, and we'll bust.
Marinate a little bit. Yeah.
Elijah Lewis, he's half Thad Lewis, half Ray Lewis. I mean, the guy does it all.
He is.
Right?
Yeah.
Elijah Lewis. I like that, man. Congratulations to him and Falls Church on that win. All right. Patriot the mighty, mighty Patriot. We got two, not one, but as Ernie Banks used to say, let's play two. We got our man Moment. Stumbling, bumbling, rumbling Moment.
Yeah.
Running back from Fairfax. And as you like to call what? He got the Al Bundy?
You got the Al Bundy. You got the Al Bundy. Got the 4 touchdowns. He got over 100 yards rushing. Wow. And a huge win over South County. Wow. Yeah, I mean, a pretty impressive way to lead his team right there.
Yeah, man. And some running backs were hurt, and he stepped up, right?
Yeah.
And then we had our man Ty Jackson, one of our first play of the week winners, right? He had that deep ball to Kai Austin back in early times. But Ty Jackson for Lake Braddock, man, what did he do? He trumped the Al Bundy.
Yeah, 441 in the air, 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns, and his first start. I believe this is his first time he started a game for the Braddock Bruins. His first start.
That's a good observation. Technically, it would be the first full-time start, right?
Yeah, first full-time start. And really kind of got that Lake Braddock ship going in the right direction after struggling a little bit for the last 2 weeks.
Wow! Well, congratulations to those two young men. That's just a huge game. That's 9 touchdowns between those two guys in one game. That's crazy. Yeah. All right.
Be crazy if those two guys met next week. Would be crazy if those two guys met.
Ooh, the Moment Jackson showdown. 2 men come. 2 men come into the saloon. Only one guy can come out. Here we go. I can't wait. And I'm going to talk about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave this on for this next group of players of the week. And this one, well-deserved. So Concord, mighty, mighty Concord, the SEC of Nova football. We didn't just name one guy.
When you took your head, you can't see your eyes.
We didn't name 2 guys. Kind of did it on purpose there. That's the old Clint Eastwood look. We didn't name one guy. We didn't name 2 guys. We didn't name 3 or 4. We named 11. But we're going to name one guy, kind of the captain of the defense, but he's representing all 11. Okay. The Madison defense, led by middle linebacker. Okay. Jackson Abrams. Now, I might be saying it wrong, but middle linebacker stud, leader of that second team all state last year, by the way, at linebacker.
Oh, wow.
For Madison's defense. And I got the hat on because he led those boys into the saloon. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
The saloon doors kicked open. Madison walked in, and Madison said, "There's a new sheriff in town." And his name wasn't Reggie Hammonds, who's Madison's defense. So congrats to Madison's defense taking control when they needed to take control. I got to give them all the respect in the world.
Yeah.
And I told John Kenny, Mr. Kenny, over at Madison. He wrote me and said, "Hey, you got to give some love to my guys." There's the love. They went into the saloon and kicked the door down, and they took control. So props to Madison this week.
Yeah, awesome.
That's a Stetson right there, buddy. They call that a Stetson.
Is it really?
Something like that.
You own a Stetson?
It's a Jack Palance special right there. All right. So congrats to them. All right, the Liberty Conference. W&L, huge win.
Yeah.
Right?
Rival
this guy led the way.
On a Saturday.
On a Saturday. Talk about it. This guy led the way.
Yeah, I don't have a stats on.
You don't have a stats. No, I was setting you up, buddy. I was setting you up for that one.
Yeah.
Our man, Matt Abramso, 23 of 30, 2 touchdowns, 230 yards passing. The field general for the Generals.
The Generals, yeah.
He's the field general of the Generals.
Yeah, 4-0, right? Sliding underneath the radar for a while. I mean,
yeah, we've gotten a few letters from people that live out in Arlington, and they're saying you guys are sleeping on W&L. No more.
Yeah, we
sleep no more on W&L.
Are we awake? We're awake for this. Are we woke for W&L?
We are now. If I had a hat, I got a lot of hats here. If I had a general hat, I'd put a general hat on, and I'd say, I salute you, WNL. You're gonna die. I'm getting behind WNL this week. You're gonna find
Yeah,
out.
no, yeah. Looks like they've definitely got themselves back. We'll talk more about them.
All right. So congratulations to Matt Abrams. So, all right, the Cardinal District. Cardinals District. They kind of struggled a little bit this week as a whole,
Yeah.
but not this team. They didn't struggle. Colgan's own George Hill, 314 yards passing, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Big day for him. Big day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Colgan looks like they are positioning themselves right to emerge on top of that Cardinal district, and I think a quarterback like that quarterback is going to that quarterback is going to be a big reason why. It looks like he's having a fantastic season.
Yeah, they look good, and he looks good.
Yeah,
and then finally, last but never least, Cedar Run District, Callum O'Shea from Battlefield, big win against Woodbridge, kind of their toughest opponent to date. And I mean, this guy reminds me of a young Major Harris right here, running for 200 yards
on 11
quarterback.
on 11 carries.
11 carries.
Yeah, breaking tackles. I mean, I was at that game live. And he's a difficult tackle. I mean, that the term difficult tackle. I mean, he was all over the place. I mean, there was a play in particular that it was a fumbled snap. He picks up, runs around, and runs it in for a touchdown.
Wow.
I mean, it was pretty impressive. No, he had a great night. And this is the first time I got to see Battlefield up close, and man, they're good. I mean, we'll talk more about them later, but
yeah,
he definitely is a huge problem back there with his running ability.
Wow. Well, congrats to Callum O'Shea, Battlefield. Congrats to all the winners from the 6 conferences, and I was going to say six student athletes, but really, since I named a whole defense, it's like we named like 20 people this week. But congrats to all of them. Congrats to all of them. All right, good job. Now we're not done.
We are not.
You've been letting it marinate. What do you got? You got an outstanding.
I got
a lot of choices, a lot of great choices. But what do you got for play of the week, my man?
So play of the week, we had quite a few, and we had a couple game winners, a couple walk-offs that were up there. We had the field goal from West Springfield. Who was the field goal from?
So West Springfield.
West Springfield, yeah.
Giving this guy some love. We got the junior kicker, Christian Sadik, 44-yard walk-off. Third field goal of the game, first of all. So he's probably player of the game. Yeah. Third field goal of the game. 1 second to play. Puts it through the uprights for 44 yards. That's tough for college and pro. I've seen college and pro players miss that, let alone high school. So congratulations to him. But you had one. That was
our play of the week, and I'm going to go ahead and take some credit for this because I've been pulling hard for the Falls Church Jaguars for a while now. They hit a hook and ladder with 20 seconds to go in the game to win the game. Elijah Lewis threw the pass to Adrian Gilbert, who pitched the ball back to Chris DeWolf for the touchdown.
DeWolf.
I mean, a hook and ladder to win the game. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I've never. Well, I mean, I've seen them on TV, but like I can't remember the last time I saw a high school game that ended up with a hook and ladder to win the game.
Win the game? No, not to
win the game. I mean, I guess it wasn't a walk-off, but I mean, with 10 seconds to go, a game, it essentially is a walk-off. I mean, we'll have that up, but a hook and ladder. There are a lot of great individual efforts, but to get your first win of the year off a hook and ladder with 20 seconds to go in the game, I mean, come on. How can you vote against that? How can you go against that?
So that was Elijah Lewis,
Aiden Gilbert, to Chris DeWolf.
To my man, the Wolf, hungry like the Wolf.
Hungry like the Wolf. Hungry no more because he has feasted on the Annandale Adams.
Wow. That's awesome way to win a game. Congrats to those guys. Yeah. Play highlight of the week. All right, man. Well, buddy, so this week we came into this week and we were breaking all types of our own rules. The Fab Five became the Sensational Six because there was such a great slate of games, and we're going to kind of go over those 6 right before we got to get into the rest. And there was a heck of a couple of great endings. So let's talk about this one. Let's start off Was there one that you want to start off with out of that six? I was going to lead off with Lake Braddock, and Westpo.
I mean, we can talk about that.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Tell us your thoughts on that. That was a big game. We said it. We said probably a must win. We didn't want to use the word must win.
Well, I think they didn't want to, end up on a bad end, right? They didn't want to end up at 1-3. I mean, that would have been
1-3 would have been bad. 1-3 would have been bad.
Yeah.
So Braddock kind of, put some stuff. You knew that we know the coaching staff at Braddock. We know they'd be ready.
Yeah.
Now, little did we know, and you alluded to it a minute ago for our congrats to Ty Jackson, player of the week.
Yeah.
They had some things cooking, right?
Yeah.
They had some things cooking, naming him the full-time star before the game.
Yeah. No, I mean the game was back and forth between. So we expected that to be. The Patriot district is just a tough district. I mean, I don't think there's really any gimmies in that district, and we knew we both liked West Potomac a lot. Lake Braddock takes it lead 7-0. It looks like they might be in control of the game again. They end up fumbling the football. West Potomac gets the ball back and then hits not Jackson. Sanchez. Sanchez hits Maloney. Of course, he goes right for a 56-yard touchdown. But from then on, Lake Braddock just kind of took control of the game. They looked really, really, a lot of big explosive plays too.
Yeah.
Ty Jackson was really good at throwing the football against them. They end up being in control of the game. They end up giving up a couple scores late off in the game to kind of make it look a little closer than what it was. But I felt like after 7-7, I feel Braddock really kind of dominated that game. I thought their D line looked like they've really matured. Looks like they've gotten better. Looks like not necessarily gotten better, but they've begun to grow into themselves. Right? They talk a lot about Braddock, about how there's a young defense. It seems like they've kind of grown into themselves. I thought defensively they looked really good. They probably looked the best defensively. I thought maybe they looked in a while. The stuff that I've seen, but
great timing for that, right? Great timing for that.
Yeah,
because they have some big games coming up. Obviously, Braddock does, and that's a high-powered West Po offense.
Yeah,
the high-powered West Po offense. So to shut them down like that, and so we were told that those late scores, West Po, Braddock had put their backups in, some of the JV guys in. Is that correct?
So they did the last two were the backups. They ended up giving up one that cuts it to 42-14. And then when they get the next one, the last touchdown was the Packers were in. But it looked like the starters were still in at 42-7 when they get to 42-14. And then they hit another touchdown. Yeah. So.
Okay. So that's a big win, not only for, you start the new quarterback and you say, you know what, we've kind of done this quarterback competition over the first 3 month of the season, more or less.
Yeah.
We're deciding to go with this guy. We're going to go with the young buck. And now we need the defense to kind of show us what they got, and everyone stepped up.
Yeah.
And which by the way, the other quarter, there was a quarterback competition.
Surus went to defense.
Now
right?
starting safety. Right?
I mean, you need to find a place for an athlete like that, right? That kid's a good athlete. You can't just have that kid, wilting away on the bench. And Brack's smart staff, and I'm sure they looked around and said, okay, where can he help us out other than quarterback?
I've seen many tough athletic quarterbacks over the years, excel at DB and safety.
Yeah. It's
Richie Gannon. Richie Gannon was drafted to play safety over in New England.
I thought you were going to go with Sunshine from the Titans in the championship game. That was not the championship game, but where he plays DB, right?
That's right.
Plays DB in the championship game, right? Brings him over.
You said it was not the championship game. Well, I mean, Disney's got to do what Disney's got to do. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. And big games next week for both. For a bunch of Patriot teams. We'll kind of get into that later.
Luckily, we have a show to talk about that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. All right. Fairfax, South County. Huge game.
Yeah. That game was back and forth for a while, and as you expect, right? I mean, both Coach Taylor and Coach Pannoni are excellent coaches who know each other pretty well. personally, right? I mean, they are
Like
friends.
family.
What
Family. Like
well,
family.
and you can tell, especially on special teams, that they were kind of waiting for each other to pull some special team stuff. Every time they lined up for kickoff, they lined up kind of different. I thought it was interesting. Um, it was back and forth. What's crazy was, so I know the score of the game, and I think when you talk about your game, you do the same thing. I know this. I know the final score of the game when I'm watching the film on Saturday, and uh, it's 14-17. 17-14 Fairfax, and they're driving, they fumble in the third quarter, and South County runs it back for a touchdown. And I'm like, wait, they're up midway to the third, but Fairfax just kind of imposes their will and just gets really physical. And this was really surprising to me, the fact that the team I saw against West Springfield being so physical, to have towards the end of the game. I mean, Fairfax is moving those guys. It was a pretty impressive showing by Fairfax, just kind of their physicality. I got to see two physical teams. I can talk about Battlefield a bit. I'll talk about another game I saw. But they end up getting 21 unanswered at that point. So I know that Coach Panoni's a quality coach, and he has to be pulling his hair out. At home, letting go when he has a lead going in the third quarter. Up 4. To kind of let things slip away from him right there. A lot of penalties, though. A lot of South County penalties. I didn't keep track, and I didn't count. I should probably start doing that a little more often when I watch the games. But a lot of South County penalties that were big, and a lot of going for it on a fourth down too, which I thought was interesting. It seemed like anytime either one of those teams got across the 50, they wouldn't punt. They would just go for it. And not like it was like fourth and short. Like it'd be fourth and medium. So, and maybe they felt like it was a big game.
The one thing that surprises me hearing your breakdown is that Fairfax was able we've talked about it last week in our analysis of the game, that the strength of the South County D was up front. And for you to tell me that Fairfax was just kind of just moving dudes and having their way, that's a big statement for Fairfax.
Yeah. I mean, and credit goes right to Coach Taylor and his lifting program.
Yeah. And talking to the coaches over there, they had some guys banged up a little bit, right? I mean, they're hoping that Lynch, good old beast mode Lynch, they're hoping he comes back soon, right?
Yeah.
And then you had the flight of the Condor. What's our man over there? The Maltese Falcon.
He's Falcon, yeah.
Maltese Falcon, was kind of a little banged up, so they went with our man Moman.
Yeah.
Ends up winning player of the game. So when they get all these guys healthy and humming, you're looking at 3-headed monster at back. They're going to come out. They're going to come out in wishbone, my friend. They're going to come out in wishbone.
And well, because it's not the NFL, though, we don't know if South County still has kids out, right? We know that last week, according to our main man on the spot, Carl Frederick, that they had quite a few starters out. We don't know where that health wise.
Right.
So I mean, that could also be another case where they're still trying to fill some gaps and try to work some guys back in.
Right.
But it's a tough loss this early in the season just because of how competitive the Patriot is.
Yeah, man, and now they all start playing each other. Now it starts getting tough. So excellent game there, man. Congrats to Coach Taylor and Coach Harris and company over there. All right, buddy. Next up, we had Oakton and West Springfield, buddy. Oakton and West Springfield.
You watched that, right?
I did. I was able to watch that one, and I'll tell you what, man. I really thought, I thought it'd be a good game. We said it last week. I said I believe in Coach Slay, and I know if there was an MGM, and we talked about this, West Springfield probably would have been big favorites going in. Yeah. But I just something about this Oakton team, the way they're playing right now, and sure enough, man. Let me break this down for you. So, because this might have been the game of the night. I mean, I other than that Falls Church Annandale game, which sounded like a heart stopper. This one was right along those lines. The last 2 minutes of this game were bonkers. So this game started off, and it was West Springfield goes down and scored. Okay, now what should have told me something about this, and I knew this Oakton D was solid, but West Springfield was like at the 40-yard line ish, somewhere around the 40 going in, and Oakton had them to like a 4th and 10, 4th and 8. And I thought maybe they'd punt it. They decided to go for it. and they hit. I think I was watching it on the NFHS feed, so it's hard to tell sometimes who's catching it. I think it was White that caught they caught it in the end zone on a wheel. So they scored, but it was a 4th and 10 that they scored on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Oakton almost made that stop, and there's
yeah.
no because that's the only touchdown of the game on that first drive for West Springfield. It's the only touchdown. Oakton comes back and they score, okay, on their drive. So now it's 7-7. All right. Then it's just, punt, 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 punt. Neither team did much of anything, for the next 2 quarters. West Springfield does, in between the second and fourth quarter, they managed 2 field goals. They get down, the score's 13-7 mid-fourth. 13-7 fourth. 2 field goals by the great kicker we gave credit to earlier, right, for West Springfield. So West Springfield's up 13-7, late fourth. Oakton manages a drive. I think they hit, again, it's so hard to tell, and they can correct us if they can't. I think it was Vasquez. They hit down the seam for a big gainer with about 2 minutes left. Oakton's driving, but now it's down to 4th down. Oakton throws a fade ball into the end zone to who? Who do you think that Oakton, time's running down, they need a touchdown? Who are they throwing that ball to, buddy?
Dalen Jones.
Dalen Jones. Freaking mosses a couple dudes, jumps up, grabs it. Tie game, right? No.
Yeah.
Got a penalty.
Flag on the play.
Flag on the play, buddy. So it's coming back. So now it's 4th and I think it's like 4th and 18 from the 20. So they can still get a first. But you got to get down to like the 1 yard line to get a first. Yeah. I think, again, it was hard to tell. I think it was Vasquez. Again, it was a slot receiver. So I think it was Vasquez again. And they hit him for a 20-yard gain. Gets down to the 1, first down. Jack Martin, QB sneak. We got a tie game with about a minute and a half left. A minute left. We got a tie game.
Yeah.
Right? But they're about to kick this extra point, and that's a ball game. They line up for the extra point. He makes it. No, he doesn't. We got a penalty. And you've been talking about the penalties. We got a penalty. So they got a re-kick. He misses the re-kick. I couldn't tell if they had a hand on it or not. But he misses the kick. So now we got 13-13, minute left. Oakton's kicking it off to West Springfield. Again, the camera doesn't pan over, but they kick a kind of a squib kick, but they kick it deep off camera, and the camera's kind of slowly going over. Before it even gets to the ball, I see the West Springfield sideline just kind of dejected, and the Oakton sideline celebrating. I'm like, oh my God, Oakton just jumped on this ball. Oakton gets the ball on about the 20-yard line going in. Tie game 13-13 with a minute left. Granted, to your point, I'm watching this going, wait a minute. Oakton loses this game. I already know they do. But they just got the ball with a minute left.
Checking your phone, making sure you didn't see the wrong score.
Right. Like, wait a minute. So Oakton's going to lose this game? And so they get the ball on the first down play. They throw, again, a quick screen to the receiver. It was kind of a bang-bang play. Catches it. And right as he catches it, the DB hits him.
Now, let me ask you this. If there was replay, do you think they call for the replay to see if he makes that football move before he
Yes, that's a great question. You definitely got to throw that red flag up, right?
Yeah.
He caught it. He gets hit. Ball pops out. West Springfield jumps on it. But we got a minute to go, man, and West Springfield's got to go 80 yards. And like I said, both teams are playing really well. They've had a hard time moving the ball all game. And so I'm still saying, how are they going to get downfield?
Yeah.
Well, first down play. I think West Springfield, by the way, rotated quarterbacks throughout. I did notice that. But when it mattered, right? When it mattered, big play needed to be made. Walrath came in, and Walrath throws a butte to midfield. I mean, to the receiver right at the sideline. This is like a 30-yard throw on the sideline, midfield. Now it's like 30 seconds to go. Throws another like 15-yard pass or so. Gets him down at the 35-ish, 32-ish. Another pass, about 10 seconds to go. They have no timeouts at this point. They rush their kicking team on. They line it up. They kick it. It's in 44 yards, and that's a ball game. I mean, wild ending, man, to a great game.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And what's crazy is so I'm sure while Oakland had me feeling down about losing that game, I'm sure part of it is, they feel like we've kind of arrived, right? This is a playoff team from last year that returns a bunch of guys, and West Springfield now, while feel like, okay, we've gotten that win that we've needed, right, after a couple really, really tough things. So I think both of them kind of walk out of that game. Oakland wanted the win, of course. Oakland won the win,
Right.
but I think they're like, okay, we can play now with the upper tier teams. So I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know they say there are no moral victories, but I think in this case, I think they can go about themselves feeling well. And West Springfield, I'm sure, is like we're not 0-3. I mean, they would have fallen. They'd have fallen to 0-3.
Must win. Must win for West Springfield.
Which, based on their season last year, I'm sure they were like, we do not want to fall to 0-3. So right. I think both those teams have something to build off from that game.
Now, there was a player for Oakton that got hurt in that game around the second or third quarter, and it was pretty serious. I think it's a broken leg. I'm not sure what it was. It looked like maybe some kind of a broken limb or something.
Yeah.
Reached out to Coach Slay. He said he's going to be okay. I mean, he's going to be out for a period of time, but but watching it on film, all you see is a player out for a long time, and you get worried. They had to bring the cart out. They had to bring the ambulance out. They had to put him in the gurney, all that stuff. Yeah. So I was, I'm watching that. I'm like, oh man, I was really worried. But that young man he's okay. He's going to be okay. So that was good news.
That's good. Yeah. So that's good news.
So great game there. Two heavyweights. Now all of a sudden, Oakton now is in the conversation with the heavyweights.
Yeah. Is there a set of people who are worried that the Oakton Cougars have come back after thinking they've slayed the dragon, and because I mean there was a time, right, where the Oakton Cougars were a tear in Northern Virginia, right? I'm sure there are people that are like, oh no, they noticed that they went to Jason's grave and they've seen that the grave is now empty.
Yes, yeah, you're right, and there is people that are saying this, and it's called People in the Concord. It's called People in the Concord. Let's say what it is. Who bullied them and took their lunch money for the last however many years, and now it's time to pay the piper.
Yeah,
Oakton's now ready, and they're looking for these guys, and they're saying, okay, but I can't wait to break down Oakton's upcoming games because they owe some people, right? They've taken their licks. They've taken their licks the last few years.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud of them. And I think what they're doing is impressive. And I've talked about it. It's what Herndon's done. It's what what Marshall's doing now. Some of these teams, they've taken their licks. They've hit a bad patch, but they've kind of made it out. Right? They've made it out of that, and now it's time. Right? It's time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kudos to them, man. All righty. Speaking of which. All right.
Okay.
They assured me this was the oldest running rivalry in Fairfax County. I said Fairfax County. I didn't say, in the nation. And I think this is the real deal. The Battle of Vienna, my friend, Marshall and Madison. So Marshall, Marshall takes the 7-0 lead early, right? Steps up.
Yeah.
Kind of a back and forth game here. And took some notes here. I'll bring these up. When I, we had people at the game kind of reaching out to us and kind of giving us the, kind of the blow by blows of that game.
Yeah.
So Marshall gets on the board first, 7-0, with about 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Okay. They're up at the end of the first. Madison does score in the second, midway through the second, and they make the 2-point conversion. You got an 8-7 game. Right around now, you're thinking 8-7 game Marshall and Madison. I don't care what happens from this point, almost halftime. You and I spoke about it. It's a win for Marshall.
Yeah.
Where Marshall's been and where Madison's been the last 5 years, that's it. Marshall at that point had already proved to me that they're back. So Marshall's got the ball, they're driving, but Madison forces a turnover. All right. Madison punches it in. 4 minutes to go in the half. They're up 15-7. All right. Madison does score one more. At this point, they do take control of the game before the half, make it 22-7. And, they end up, 35-7. So that was the final score of the game. All right, and as we know, we named the defense for Madison Player of the Game because outside of that first
let
drive.
me ask you, because you
Hang
watched
on,
it.
I do want to give credit to a couple guys. I want to give credit to our man Yates. All right, our man Yates, quarterback he had an efficient game. An efficient game. I think he went 9 of 11.
Oh wow.
So I mean, it was ground and pound, but when he had to throw, he barely threw an incompletion. So you got to give the guy credit.
Oh, okay.
But but go ahead.
No, what I was going to ask you was, how long did it take for Marshall to kind of get used to that triple option? It sounds like early on, it sounded like they had some issues.
It's a great question. Looking at the timestamps and the scores, probably a good quarter and a half.
Okay.
Because you're looking at it was a 15-7 game mid-second.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was curious, like, how long it took them to, but I'd imagine eventually they probably started just kind of overwhelming them, right?
Right, but that's a top notch. You and I talked about it. That's a top notch defense. I mean, if you're going to tell me that it's going to take a top notch defense like Madison, and it takes that to stop Marshall's going a long way, my friend. They're going a long way. So you know what? There might be a new sheriff in town. Not it's the same sheriff, but it's the same sheriff in Madison. But it does show you that Marshall. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and deputize Marshall. I'm deputizing them.
Are they the sheriff of the Liberty? What they call him in Louisiana? The sheriff of the Liberty Parish.
Isn't that what Shaq was?
Sheriff of in the parish?
Shaq was a sheriff, dude. Shaq was he had a show where he was driving around like as a police officer.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Right. Yes, I do.
But a lot of, I mean, Madison, they proved they're kings out there. I get it. But Marshall, to me, proved that they can play. They can, kind of like we're talking about Oakton. I think Marshall can hang with some of the big boys, too, now.
And they have played 63 times. I'm trying to find another one that's close, and I cannot find anybody else.
The oldest rivalry in all of Fairfax County, buddy.
Yeah, which is interesting. Yeah, but 63 times they played.
Yeah, Battle of Vienna. All right, buddy. Next up in the sensational 6 that we had this past week. All right, we had W&L and Yorktown.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was supposed, two rivalry games, but man, the W&L just kind of showed that everyone thought, right, they had a really big senior class. How are they going to react? And boy, man, they score a lot of points, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, that quarterback looked really good. I mean, unfortunately, Coach Hansen's got to wait another week for a good old win number 300.
Yeah.
Saturday game. I didn't see that one coming. And Yorktown's style of offense usually kind of keeps the scores from getting out of control, and it seems not to be the case.
Yeah, that W&L team is for real, man. What can you say? Mm-hmm. People doubted it with Bajwani, the quarterback, who had such a phenomenal year last year, graduating.
Yeah.
Didn't matter because, as we know, quarterback Matt Abrams. So, they're becoming the new quarterback. They just come out over there in W&L.
I haven't looked it up yet. I'll look it up on the Twitter machine eventually. When is W&L playing Marshall?
Ooh, man,
that's gonna be a pretty interesting fight right there, right?
Could be a game of the week contender right there, buddy.
That for sure is gonna be a game of the week. I can tell you that right now. Let's see. Yeah, it's not until October, but
okay.
That's gonna be a big one.
That could be a good one, buddy.
Playoff implications in that one.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Seeding up in the line, everything. Yeah. So, kind of going over these games, man. I think there was one more of the sensational 6 we had, and we talked about it last week. I said the Overtons were making their way into Concord territory. They were gonna go and face a Concord team for the first time, this year, and they handled it the way they handled the last time they met a Concord team. They dominated. So, look, but I was there for the game, okay, and I wanted to see you know, there's no short clock for this one, right? At least not until they reach
Yeah.
that the number.
Yeah.
And they won 7-0 convincingly. I saw French was throwing moonshots,
Yeah.
to our man Dennis, who, by the way, with three catches, 3 touchdowns,
3 catches and like 140 yards, something like that. He almost had the exact same stat line that Overton had last week.
Well, Overton had
No.
nine carries for 200 yards. He had a 90-yard kickoff return.
It's like playing Madden on rookie mode, right? For them right now, is what it seems like.
They are playing Madden on rookie. Now, I can't wait to talk about next week's match. We haven't gotten there yet, but it might not be Madden on rookie mode next week, buddy. You're talking about playing one of the class teams of the Northern Virginia over the last decade. We haven't gotten there yet, so we'll get to that one.
Now, I wonder this. I did have I had a thought, just because I saw Mater Dei came out and beat St. Francis and I love my Southern California team, so I'm gonna. I hate Mater Dei, but when you're from Southern California, anyway. I wondered this. Coach Overton's had done a pretty good job of having some really good teams out there, and I know he ventures into Maryland. I'm curious if he would ever venture out. A few years ago, Oscar Smith brought down St. John Bosco, and they learned that you don't want to do that. Sorry, you Virginia people, but you don't want to. But I'm curious if you, because like there's a really good team in there's like a national ranked team down in North Carolina. I think there might be one maybe in the Pennsylvania area. There might be a national ranked team.
Yeah.
I'm always curious, just because they have a lot of blowout wins, and rightfully so, they're really talented. But I'm always curious when you have a team that has that kind of talent, year in year and out that he has. Has he ever thought about going down to Miami and playing? I think Miami Central down there. I mean, going to play some of those teams just to kind of up the level of and I think it brings some notoriety to your program. But I'm always curious is has he ever thought about playing a national schedule and actually, because and I know playing the private schools are one thing. You're like, well, I don't want to play them, but Long Beach Poly goes to Hawaii every year. They'll go to They'll go. They came to Florida. They went to Florida. I don't know. It was a while ago, but they've gone to Florida. So I'm always curious if he's thought about going somewhere and playing.
They did play last year. Freedom played. Was it DeMatha?
But they play locally, right? These are teams that are
right. It is. Yeah, it's local. It's not further away.
Kind of close by, but like ever traveling like out of state, far out of state, right?
That's a good question.
Where some of these programs, I'm curious if maybe if we were get a chance to talk to him, I'll ask him, if he's ever thought about, because they have those matchmaker services that'll be like, okay, if you want to play a big boy, like we can get one for you, because a lot of those teams have trouble finding games. A lot of teams are like, why would I want to play you? Although it's a payday, but why would you want to play you? So I'm curious.
Maybe if they're listening, I know they're fans of the show. Maybe they'll respond to that. It's a great question.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the sensational 6. Like we said, that game, a lot of fireworks in that game, but that was the game that took a while. That first half took a long time to play that I was at, because the ball was in the air a lot.
Yeah.
The ball was in the air a lot for both teams. So it just took a while to play that first half. So I looked at halftime, but it was 70 points. That's the most in, I think that's the stat I saw, most in Hayfield history.
Really? There may be more.
I was going to say we might see some more most in Hayfield histories.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, that wasn't it though, man. That was not it. There was a lot of things going on this week. So we're going to kind of go over the best of the rest. Annandale Falls Church. 2 teams looking to get off the schneid.
What a game. 43-42, I think was the final.
Yeah.
And here's what I want to say about that play of the game. And the fact that they were able to run a hook and ladder and win the game tells me that they practiced that. That's just not something you can drop in the dirt and hope it works the first time. And so I've heard really good things about Coach Coogan, but that tells me that they practiced that play. There's a lot of coaches who don't practice. They're like, okay, 20 seconds left the game, we have to run a play. A lot of times they'll just try to throw something deep or maybe try to draw something up in the. But to have that play put together just kind of tells me the organization they must have at that program. To be able to run that play when you need it and have you execute it. And even if you run it a lot, doesn't mean they're going to execute it. But the fact that he had that in his back pocket, because it tells me that they run that, they practice that quite a bit. And so that was what I'm probably most impressed with, just looking at it from a coaching perspective, knowing that they have to work on that play in order to run that at that moment. But yeah, I hope the guys at Falls Church really feel well about what they're doing. I got a chance to meet, and I forgot his name. I believe he is working with the quarterbacks. He might work with the receivers. He did summer PE. I got to work with him. Seemed like a really good guy. But yeah, hopefully we see Falls Church, Coach Coogan kind of turn that thing around over there.
Yeah, good for them. And Annandale, right there with them. I mean, they're pretty neck and neck teams, obviously, if that's how the game ended, right?
Yeah.
Both teams kind of turning things around. Good job. All right. Edison, McLean. McLean wins big.
Yeah. So it looks like McLean is still kind of rolling. Those Liberty teams is going to be a dogfight in there.
Yeah, McLean's not going anywhere yet. McLean's still around. WNL, Yorktown, Herndon. They all keep your eye on McLean. It's not over yet. They're still around.
Edison, another team, right? We talked about some of the teams that had a lot of seniors are doing well. Other teams that had a lot of seniors are trying to find their identity. I think that's the same thing for Edison.
Herndon Wakefield. Herndon wins 21-0. That's far from the 49 0 a year ago.
Yeah, so kudos, right, to Wakefield. It seems like they're trying to turn the corner. But if you look at the score, so Herndon is giving up less than, I think, 10 points a game right now between all their games. So they're playing some good defense over there.
Yeah, elite defense. The we talk about the WNL coordinator, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to mess this up because my memory is bad. Well, first of all, let's talk about Herndon with Coach Richards, right? Coach Richards and his defense.
Yeah. No, he's done a fantastic job over there with that defense. I think that what they will do, to turn that program around has been nothing short of special. To be able to go from 0-27 to now, looking to make them run the playoffs is fantastic over there.
And then so you look at certain coaches who are doing a great job. Like you said, WNL's coordinator, Herndon's Herndon's DC. Those are teams that are kind of really identifying with one side of the ball, right? And they're taking that persona.
And Herndon's run game coordinator, right? Paul Granados. He's the run game coordinator over there. Yeah, he's run game coordinator there. And then Derek Law, right? He's the passing game coordinator over there. The guy with the good coordinators over there. I like those. We like those good guys.
We do like the coordinators over there. They're solid guys doing a good job. Yeah. Former Woodson guys.
Yeah.
Whether in either teacher or coach. Gallo. So Gallo ran some notes from Herndon that I was able to gather. Quarterback, one of our players of the week for a couple weeks ago. Not Callow, talking about Gallo. He had a 40-yard touchdown run. Okay, running that triple option. He had a touchdown pass to the big tight end. Okay, and then their big running back. He's been kind of banged up. Costello, not Elvis Costello, but Costello touched it on the ground. So, tough running for Herndon. And then Wakefield, the one thing I keep hearing from over and over, talking to all the coaches, they're fast to the ball. Their skill guys are lightning fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
They do a lot of guys playing both ways, but man, they're not an easy game anymore. Those days are done.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, good for them, right?
Yeah, for sure. Mountain View, the big win over Centerville. I looked in the first quarter. It was I think it was either Centerville was up 7-0 or 14-7. Centerville was up early in that game, but Mountain View kind of runs away with that one, 40-14. You got some thoughts on the old 540? You got some thoughts in general on those teams over there, though, right? Tell me.
They're pretty talented down there.
They're loaded. They're loaded.
Yeah, they are. They're really good. The Region B, that Region B is gonna be pretty tough. I like the three teams in Cedar Run. Those other teams are gonna have something to say about that.
Yeah, they really are. And as far as Centerville goes, at Concord's it's gonna get tough. Playing that Concord. They got some young talent over there, though. I think they can turn it around. They do have some young studs over there at Centerville. Centerville Youth does a good job kind of putting those kids out.
Yeah.
All right. South Lakes and Mount Vernon. South Lakes, the big win, 40-14.
Yeah. Big win for South Lakes, right? Finally able to get back in the win column.
Yeah.
Mount Vernon's struggling a little bit. I'm curious what's going on there because I know when you saw Mount Vernon against Oakton, a team that you like
It's
a lot.
Oakton. Yeah.
Against Oakton, they seem pretty good. They seem like they had something going. So we haven't got a chance to really watch them. Hopefully, I'll try to pick up a game from them next week or so,
Yeah.
and see what it looks like over there. Grimsley and Moray.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Solid, man. Solid stuff. And then obviously in PW we had some matchups, right? We had Hilton. Hilton's kind of going through a tough time right now.
Yeah.
Unity Reed with the big win there. You got any
Unity
thoughts on that?
Unity is supposed to be pretty good, right? And Hilton's just trying to find an identity right now.
Yeah.
We both like Coach Van Acker. We think he's a great coach, and Rome was not built in a day, right? Rome was not built in a day.
Right. That's right.
And to get them going is going to take a little bit of work.
Yep.
But hopefully I'm sure Coach Van Acker is going to get those guys straight.
OP and Colgan, man, I'll tell you what, keep an eye on Colgan with our guy George Hill.
Yeah. Colgan looks like they may be filling that void in the Cardinal that's been left by Freedom, and I think Freedom plays this week. I think the return of the state champs, Freedom.
Yeah,
I believe it's this week.
Is that this week?
I believe so.
Man, I tell you what, I do like that. How about Forest Park and Varina? We didn't know much about Varina. We did know about Forest Park and that hard running. What do you think about that one?
Oh, I believe Varina won. I think Varina won. That was a game like 34-11. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
By the way, I'm sorry, I had to correct myself just because my brain, you got to excuse my friend. He's a bit slow. Coach Ludwig at WNL was the OC.
Coach Ludwig. Okay.
Who's doing an outstanding job over there. I wanted to make sure I gave him and Coach Richards just some respect there.
Yeah, but my understanding too, Varina is pretty good, right? Varina is
Varina's a tough team.
Yeah,
that's a tough team.
So
and Forest Park, we said it. Forest Park, that great running game. This was like early on in the preseason breakdowns of each team. I think it was the great Carl Frederick that said what worries him is when a team can kind of stop the running game. Can they kind of adapt when that happens?
Oh yeah, but Varina's supposed to be pretty good.
All right, Potomac and Osborne, man. What was it? A grand
8-3.
Grand slam to make it an 8-3 ball game.
8-3 ball game. I mean, it's a really high scoring baseball game.
At 8 runs, eight runs in the bottom of the ninth, huh?
Yeah, but it was Osborne. Looks like they've kind of got a little better. Carl Frederick called it. He called it.
He did.
He did call it.
No one circles the wagons in Prince William like the great Carl Frederick. The man knows Prince William football. I got to give him credit there. Yeah. Woodbridge and Battlefield, my friend. You know a little bit about that game.
I was there. Fantastic crowd. It was a really good atmosphere. I got a shot to Ruben.
You know what? Hang on. Elaborate on that because I've heard this. And you said they treated you very kindly over there. I like it.
Yeah, they're really nice. The announcer Ruben, who was also a social studies teacher there. So we had I don't know, maybe we had a kinship to each other, both being a social studies teacher. Gave me rosters for both Battlefield and for Woodbridge, so we have those now. Really good crowd, strong crowd, lots of people there. First time being there at I liked Woodbridge Stadium. The staff was really accommodating. They're pretty awesome. Good atmosphere. At the end of the game, they gave me ice cream. I got a free bowl of ice cream there.
Wow.
So yeah,
they know how to treat the All Hitches staff by getting them free ice.
And my man Ruben also made the announcement to go to the website after to look at the game. He give us free ad time. And I noticed they don't have not a lot of people advertising in Woodbridge because we've been at a few games and we're like I'm not going to name names, but we have certain companies at Woodson that always get announced every game. They're having that stuff there. So hopefully we get some stuff there. I really liked it there. Nice. A really good game for a while, back and forth, and then just some really unfortunate things happened to Woodbridge. It was 14-7. Woodbridge is driving, and I think it was a fourth down, to be fair. But tip pass, interception, the 50, and I think the very next play, I think Caleb O'Shea breaks like a 60-yard touchdown. And then they go to kick off, there's a procedure penalty again, and then they go careful again, and it's a squib, but the squib goes right up the front guy. Was he aiming there? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it just happened to be hit it really hard, bounced off him. They got it. And so it went from being 14-7 within a slink of an eye, it was 28-7. And so that Battlefield team's really physical.
Yeah,
they're
really, they're just such a darn game.
That D line and running wise, like they have a bunch of kids who run hard. I mean, they're not an easy team to deal with. If you have to play Battlefield, which most of the people listen to us won't have to play them until the state final. You better bring your lunch pail because you better be ready to fight for 4 quarters because those kids are pretty physical.
Man, all right. Well, I just want to go to a Woodbridge game. Ice cream's all. All right. Freedom South Riding Riverside. I guess Riverside gets the dub on that one.
Yeah. Freedom South Riding still trying to fight the good fight. Hopefully those guys over there. They've been in contact with us and seem like a bunch of good guys over there.
Yeah, that's a tough Riverside. That's a pretty good Riverside team too.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I don't know anything about Riverside. Yeah.
All right.
Riverdale.
Gainesville against Robinson. Gainesville with the big win against Robinson. Robinson still, that's a tough schedule for Robinson, man. It just never ends. It's always a top tier opponent every time I look.
Yeah, I think other than South Lakes, every team they play has probably been in our top 10.
Yes, top 10 teams
every week. Yeah.
So just let Coach Blair, give Coach Blair some time and let him keep doing what he's doing there because they're competing in those games. Looking at those scores, they're competing. They're not just folding.
Right. No, excellent job over there.
They got heart. All right. Patriot. Colonial Ford's not in our jurisdiction, but they're one of those 5-4-0 teams that are really good.
Yeah, so I guess it was a back and forth game. I think it was a 1-score game. Didn't get a chance to watch that one, unfortunately. But I'd imagine that was a pretty good game. I don't know if that was on the NFHS either. I don't know.
Jackson McCarter had Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl type numbers. I think he had 300 yards rushing, dude. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, he's the real deal over there. But that tells you how good Colonial Forge is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Between them and Mountain View, I mean, there's the top half of the Region B is going to be a slugfest over there.
Yeah. Well, that concludes the Week 4 incredible slate of games, man. Just non-stop action all Friday night and Saturday long.
Yeah.
Now, but we're not done.
We are not.
Bang for your buck here. You're getting just a little bit more because we're here to please people. We want to help people out. We want to give. We're all about giving here. We're all about giving. Power rankings time, baby. It is power rankings time. Here
going first? Am I going first or going first?
Well, go. Give me some honorable mentions. Give me some teams that are outside the party looking in. They want to get into the club, but the bouncer says, no, you're not on the list right now, buddy.
I didn't have an honorable. I think the honorable mention list for me will just be too long. I think there's quite a few teams that are kind of knocking on the door. I don't have anything honorable mention wise. I just have my 10.
Well, then you're a real jerk about not letting people into the party, huh? At least I'm letting people look in the window, at least. All right. So I'm going to name a couple of teams that I'm not letting in, but they're right on the cusp.
Well, actually, I do have one. I have an honorable mention. I have Marshall as an honorable mention. And I think that actually Forest Park as my other honorable mention. I should really have Forest Park on my list. But I don't.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw a couple at you. I'm going to throw a couple that didn't make my list.
Yeah.
But they're, again, still on the outside looking in. Herndon, and here we go. I'm going to throw this on here because I really feel like with this, I'm kind of honing these thoughts here. I think Herndon's going to make noise, my friend. But right now, they haven't played any. I haven't seen Herndon play any of these top level teams.
Yeah.
And I think now we're going to get into Liberty play. And in Liberty play, I think you're going to see Herndon kind of start to make some of that noise. But until, you're knocking off Wakefield, you're knocking off some other teams. They played Langley. and they lost to Langley.
Yeah.
Right? So Herndon's outside looking in, but they're on the cusp. We want to invite them. But right now, the great Karnak, the great Dastronomus, can't let him in. All right. All right. Another one, Oakton.
Okay.
I mean, to go, 12 rounds with a team like West Springfield, that says a lot about them. They're on the cusp of getting in, but they're not quite there yet, but they're on the cusp. Okay. That's pretty much it. I've had a lot of teams fall off the list, which I'm going to go. Oh, South County fell off. They're trying to get back in at some point. But that's pretty much it for outside looking in. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Lead us off, my friend. Number 10. Lead us off.
In my 10, I have Colgan. I got Colgan in my 10.
Look at you. All right. Well, I am going with great Dastronomus, predicting Marshall. Now, Marshall's dropped a little bit, but I told you this. I said Marshall coming off a loss like that where they went toe-to-toe for almost a half against the best team in the area, in my opinion. That speaks highly of Marshall. Marshall hangs on the list.
All right. For my 9, I got Herndon.
All right. You're forgetting about teams. The great Karnak does not forget about teams that don't play. Westfield
Okay.
at 9. I just Coach Vossler. Look, that's your buddy Mesa right there. Me, I'm the one who remembered you guys at 9. Okay, I'm keeping West on the list.
At 8, I got WNL.
Look at that, great minds. The minds. I got WNL. WNL, who was I don't think on either one of our lists before this.
I looked at. I just pulled up my week 1 power ranking. I had WNL at 10.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So WNL makes both our lists at 8. All right. Go ahead. Who do you got at 7?
Patriot
at 7. All right. I'm going with Gainesville. At 7. I mean, Gainesville, that tough loss to Woodbridge. Or I'm sorry, tough almost loss, close game to Woodbridge. Yeah. And Robinson kind of hung in there. I need to see a little something out of Gainesville, but they're at 7. They're still hanging around.
All right. 6. We're at 6.
6.
I got Langley.
Okay. I actually like that a lot. But this team made a big jump for me. Were they even on the list? They were not last week, but they jumped all the way up to 6 with a huge win. Fairfax, Coach Taylor, Coach Harrison company. They look phenomenal right now with a 3-headed monster. I'm predicting good things in the future for Fairfax.
Me and Coach Harris are talking this morning, oddly enough. And I'll tell you right now that Coach Stats does not like you nearly as much as I like you. I got Fairfax at 5.
Wow, you stole Karnak's thunder. You son of a gun. Wow. All right, well, I'm going to go with Jackson McCarter coming off a loss. I had them top 3 before 4, but they're coming off a loss, but they're just so darn good. They're so darn good. So even to come off that close loss to a really good team, Patriots at 5. I got Patriot at 5.
At 4, I got Gainesville.
All right. At 4, I have an inspired Langley team. Langley up the charts.
Yes. Wow, you got Langley.
Langley is playing. Langley, look who Langley's beaten, buddy. They've beaten Oakton. They've beaten Herndon. You can make an argument that Langley has played tougher teams than a lot of the teams in our top 3 and 4.
Okay. All right. We are at 4?
3.
No, we're at 3. At 3, I got Battlefield.
I had Battlefield as well at 3. Great minds. The great Karnak.
Okay. I think we have the same ones in. Because if you have some of these top 2,
maybe not the exact order. Who do you got at 2?
At 2, I got Madison.
I love Madison. At 2, great Karnak. Hayfield. Hayfield jumps. I said it last week. I said if Hayfield could keep winning these big games, they'd make a jump. I had him at 3 last week. What do I have him now? I have him at 2. The great Karnak does not lie. I got him at 2. Hayfield is trending upward. They're playing some tough teams now. So Hayfield at 2.
The opinions of Coach Dash are not the opinions of the station. At number 1,
drum roll.
and At number one, I have the Modern Day Monarchs, who've come down to beat St. Francis with their traveling road show. I'm going to run out of California teams eventually. No, at number one. No, actually, I won't. I think I can make it 10 weeks. At number one, I have Hayfield. I have the Hayfield Hawks at number one.
At number one, going no place. They've been number one. I've had them number one every week this year, except for one. Except for
week one. You have week one.
Except for week one. But if they've been there, I'm consistent. They came into the saloon. I told you what would happen. Marshall hit him with the chair. Madison kind of stumbled over. Madison stood up, threw a little mud in the eye of Marshall. Marshall went down, and that was it. So Marshall hung in there for a minute, but then the Sheriffs took over, and Madison reigns supreme still after the Battle of Vienna. So Madison, number one. I was thinking more, the blood and the guts and the beer. I was thinking more Johnny Cash with Madison, and they reigned supreme. So Madison keeps the number one, but I am going to say this. Let's see how these. I'm all about the opponents. Let's see who these teams are playing down the road. And speaking of which, we got some big games this week, my friend, coming up.
Yeah. Little tease right there. I think we got some exciting stuff to look forward to next week. Again, we have teams pulling away. We have teams now are going to start looking at playoff seeding, right? They're going to start looking at where they're going to finish on the district. So it'll be a big week.
Yeah, just kind of peeking, just a peek. Okay, Reggie Hammond just kind of looking over, taking a peek over here. I mean, a couple that I like next week. Okay, I like Chantilly Madison. Good old Battle of Concord right there.
Not the Flight of the Concords.
Not the Flight of the Concords, the Battle of the Concord. Fairfax Braddock. I know you're all over that one, my friend.
Yeah, that should be a good one.
Herndon South Lakes. Herndon not getting the free ride this week. South Lakes is a quality opponent. Quality opponent for Herndon. McLean Marshall.
Marshall should be a good one. I agree.
Battle of Liberty. Oakton Centerville.
Oakton Centerville is going to be an interesting one, right?
Yes, it is. Centerville's no pushover.
And Centerville's owned them for a while. Actually,
yes, they have.
Let's go to the good old. I mean, I don't know how much longer you want to spend on this, but I can look at this right now.
Well, you can look that up as I kind of just go over the rest of the games this week. WNL Falls Church. Not so much there. Oh, I got one for you. Yorktown West Springfield, solid game. And then how about this one? This is a very interesting game. Woodson at AC. That's a big one for both of those teams. Actually, a huge game for both of those teams. So Woodson AC both coming off buys. And then Robinson Westpo in a game that ended up 7-6 last year.
Yeah, should be interesting.
You look that up. What do you got?
Centerville's on an 8-game winning streak against Oakland. It's been 8 years.
You just gave Coach Slay everything he needed to put on that wall, buddy.
So these seniors were in the 4th grade the last time that they beat them.
Wow. And last but not least, for this coming week, my friend, game we've been talking about, game the Washington Post was talking about, South County and your Hayfield Hawks. This is going to be a fun one, my friend, and we're going to break it all down next week.
We are
break it down.
Yeah, it should be a fun week of football. Should be a fun week of football.
Yes, sir. I can't wait. Can't wait to get it all going. Just a few days away from breaking all the action down for week 5. Fantastic week 5, but it was a fabulous week 4, buddy. And I'm glad we get together and talk about it.
Be exciting.
All right. Well, don't forget to subscribe. We always need those subscribers. You guys keep us going. All right, keep us going. Keep subscribing. Keep sharing it with Grandpa Joe and Grandma Josephine in Missouri and all your other relatives in the Dakotas and all that other stuff. Please keep sharing this stuff. Keep subscribing. All right. Well, from Coach Dash and Coach Mason, thanks a lot for joining us today. We'll see you guys next week on All Hitches.
See ya.